Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the odds section of Totopoly Ultimate Grand National. It's a working title. We thought we'd give you a video of the odds that I am recommending each horse take for the game. Basically, you know, if you only made it halfway through the video, but you kind of thought, you know what, I'm maybe gonna wait until the race and see what happens, and also to give you some odds to work with at home if you're not kind of familiar with how to really calculate them. Of course, you can make up your own odds at home if you think I'm being too generous or being too harsh on a horse. By all means, get a notepad out and make your own odds there, and do bets amongst your family and what have you, and pick your favourites. It's always fun, isn't it? But so yeah, I thought I'd just do like a little mini video for the odds and how I'm going to calculate it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it, eh? Right. So first, starting with Midnight Warrior. Now, Midnight Warrior is going to roll first every round because he's number one, but his condition isn't amazing, so he's going to take a -1, and for his white. So that means that if he lands on a black square, he cannot take advantage that the square gives him. Now, if he gets rid of that white by landing on a black square, then he can take advantage of moving on 8 every time he lands on that black square. And same goes with all the rest of the horses for their relative colours. Now, because of that, I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, he rolls first, so he's got a fair advantage to get ahead. However, it does depend on his position card. We don't know yet where all these horses will end up in the run-up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be as kind as I can, and I'm going to give the odds to 5-1. Now, I would put that in properly, but it's Excel and I can't be bothered to deal with the format, so apologies for that. But yeah, so that's a 5-1 for Midnight Warrior. Samba, number 2, has ended up with a +1 condition, so for me at least, I'm going to have Samba as a 2-1 favourite. So if you put your money down, you'll double it. So that's for Samba there. I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, obviously he will need to start at the front, but if he does, he has an extra 8 to move on. So that's like an extra dice roll to the maximum to get ahead if he wants to. Faithful ended up with a condition of evens, so he's not bad, he's not good. He can take full advantage of the advance squares. So if he lands on a black, he can go on another 8. So that's one to watch out for. So that is going to be a 3-1 for me. Mr. Chairman ended up with a -1. I must say, during the practice race that we did the other day, Mr. Chairman actually fell at the chair. So hopefully we won't have a repeat of that. But because he has that -1 and because he's not going first, we're getting down the list a little bit. I'm going to maybe make that a 6-1. I could probably make it a 5-1, but if he gets stuck behind one of these horses and gets boxed in a little, or gets boxed in by other horses or whatever, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a little bit tough for him to get ahead, but again, depends on that positioning. Charlemagne, because I've given him a minus for that, made him a 6-1, I'm going to make him a 7-1. 7-1 for Charlemagne there, again with the -1. And I should maybe also explain, probably more for my benefit really, to see how balanced the game is, and and what have you. The blacks turned out with a colour total of -2, so that's more of an indication as to whether the chances of these horses winning or not, depending on their condition cards, which isn't so bad. I mean, there's worse ones out there, of course, but yeah, a total of -2 for the blacks. Moving on to Petticoat Pauper, it is a -2. It is a -2 for Petticoat Pauper. He's going to have to land on 2 red squares to get any advantage and try and move up the pack a bit. Positioning, I mean, it's going to be tough, but he does have a no burst blood vessel around that final corner. So if he does end up on the outside and falls into that big old trap that we put on the corner, and if you're familiar with the Totopoly boards, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, and you're very familiar with the burst blood vessel squares, I'm going to maybe give him 12-1. It's a bit of an outside shot with that -2, and there is, if I remember correctly, 12 squares where they can land on, so maybe a bit generous, but we'll see. Leonidas IV, I'm going to make him an 8-1. He can still move. He's going to get a +7 if he lands on a red, and he's out there too. I'm probably going to make him an 8-1 as well, for the Duke's luck. They can move on 7 if they get in the front for that starting run up. I think they'll be away. So long as they don't fall on a hedge, they'll be fine. So Eat My Shorts, well trained, but we're getting down the pack now. I'm going to make him a 10-1, 10-1 shot, and because Nice Day Out is a 10, but he does have no broken rein, so that jump over the water jump, which is the final jump, we're going to make him, I'm going to bring him down to 8-1. He's well trained, he's got no broken rein, but he's coming out. I can't make him any more better than the rest of the reds, really. So yeah, so that's the odds for the reds. Now, I'm being very generous with the reds here because they have a colour total of 0, so that is the best that's come out so far, really. I mean, obviously you've got the whites, which is really good, but I mean, I think the reds have a good solid chance of winning. You've got a stable total of -2 for the blacks and the reds, so that's kind of leveled out there. So, Cottage by the Sea, number 11. We're getting into the middle of the horses now. 10 horses will roll before number 11, because that's the way it works. But he does have a good condition of 2. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to make him a 10-1 shot as well. May the horse be with you. Terrible training. Ended up with -3 on condition. This is going to be a 25-1 shot. 25-1. Hell, maybe even make it 30. We'll make it 30-1 for May the Horse Be With You. He has to land on those white, or it'll be grey on the board, squares for him. Prince Rupert's Poodle is at a 0 for condition, so he can certainly make use of those colour squares, and they have a stay up special if they ever fall on a fence. So what I'm going to do is, he's going to be a good jumper, so he's got 2 lives almost, really. What I'm going to do, I'm probably going to maybe even make him a solid 9-1 shot. Abbey Road Album is a no-runner, and then we've got Paddleboat Captain. Now Paddleboat Captain is pretty damn good, but he is in the middle of the pack, so I'm going to make him a 10-1 shot. 10-1 shot. I gave the extra point there to Prince Rupert's Poodle because he has the stayed up card. You know, with Paddleboat Captain, I mean they have 18 extra squares, but it depends if they can make use of them. Really, if they get boxed in, it's going to be tough. Yeah, so maybe a 10 to 1 shot. It may be a little bit generous, but yeah, that's the way we're going to do it. Wish You Were Here ended up with a condition of 0, but they are an orange. We are starting to get into the little bit of the long shots now. I'm going to make it an 18 to 1. Spirit of Marengo, probably going to make that a 20 to 1 shot. Now, to tell you the truth, the greens and the oranges do have a pretty solid chance of landing on one of their colours, because instead of and you'll see it on the map, instead of the 2 squares together, they're going to have 3 squares together to land on their colours. I wanted to mix it up a bit, you know. I wanted to maybe give some of those middle runners a little bit of a boost, to maybe equal out against the reds and the blacks, and to a certain extent the whites, and really just kind of keep those odds. So yeah, so we've got a 20 to 1 for Andy, You're a Star as well, and 20 to 1 for Spirit of Marengo. I think that's fair. And we're going to maybe have another couple of 18s. For the Prince of Orange. Now the oranges ended up with a -2, so they're one really on par with you know, taking advantage of those advantage cards, advantage spaces rather, with the blacks. So that's the odds what I'm going to go for. So we've got Green and Green. I'm going to make him a 25 to 1 outside chance. The Border Princess, I'm probably going to have to make that a 33 to 1, because they've got the maybe, yeah, so 33 to 1 is probably a good shot, because again they've got those 3 squares that they can land on halfway round, and you know, they've got 12 chances to do it. I think 33 to 1 shot isn't so bad. Gunboat Diplomacy, 25 to 1. Why not? Pour Us a Pint, one of the well-trained horses in the bunch. I'm going to bring him down to 20 to 1. Maybe even make him a 15. No, I think 20 to 1 is a good shot. You know, he can easily be surpassed by some of these other horses that have still got advantage cards. But it's a good shout. It's a good shout. You know, if you want a good price, Pour Us a Pint is probably a good bet. Gone Fishing now, -2. I think it's a bit too much to ask for someone who's on the tail end for us now. I'm going to put him as a 40 to 1 shot. And the greens also end up on a -2. So I'm not going to be too harsh to them, but I am aware that, yeah, they will be moving after a hell of a lot of these horses. And unless they start at the front, they're going to get boxed in. So, moving down to the bottom half of the board now. Madame de Pompadour, -1, a purple. Hasn't been trained all that well. I'm going to maybe even make her a 35 to 1. 35 to 1 for Madame de Pompadour. Shoeshine Boy. Maybe make that a 30 to 1. Why the Wait? I'm going to make that a 30 to 1 as well. Again, because their condition is at 0, they can take advantage of some advantage cards, but they'll only go on 3. So, again, bit of a long shot. Hell, I mean, if it's only 3, I might even change that. I might even change my mind on both of those. Bring it up to 40s. Bring it up to 40 to 1. Strawberry Shortcake, I'm going to make that a 50 to 1 because it is on the -1 and it will only go on the 3 if it ever lands on a thing. Early Bird catches the worm. I'm going to make it 50 to 1 as well, 51 shot. Now the purples did end up pretty bad. Hell, I mean the greens and the purples of Appledon Stables, -5 overall. I don't think a green or a purple is going to come in the top 3. I think it's very unlikely. But prove me wrong, guys. You know, roll well. So we got Abbey Gate, trained very well, very well. Ended up with you know, top condition, but again it's a lightweight. It's only going to move on 2 if it ever lands on a yellow space. I'm going to make that a generous 50 to 1 shot. Knight of the Realm. Again, I think that's going to be 100 to 1. A -3 with the yellow. It's not going to happen. Play for keeps, 60 to 1. Hell, make it 65. Marion Wears My Socks for the -2. I'm going to have to make that 80 to 1. Yeah, we're really racking on the numbers here now. And Card Shark, again, probably 65 to 1 on an outside chance that it gets the numbers, but I really don't think so. Okay, so to the blues now, that will only move 1 square if they ever land on a blue space. So they'll really have to roll well, and against the competition, if they end up at the back, it's over. It's really over. So we've got 125 to 1 across the board, I think. For most of these blues. And Rocket Man will make 150 to 1. We're not going to price him out, but he's done well. He's only got a -1. If he had a -2, I'd say it's pretty much impossible for him to win the race, especially against some of these other guys. I mean, he'll really have to make up the difference. But it looks like the yellows and the blues combined ended up with a -3, so they're more likely to finish the race than the purples and the greens, which is probably why I gave them a little bit more of a fair shot with that 125 to 1. But they're rolling last. If they get shut in, and you know they don't sneak past a majority of the pack, bar, you know, come that first corner, I wouldn't put your money on blue. But if you want to take a punt, why not? Now, I've also included a grand total here at the bottom, just in case. There's -10 on the disadvantage cards. There's 10 of them out there that the horses need to get rid of. So you know, if we were playing by traditional Totopoly rules, that means that yeah, a quarter of them would run the risk of no finish because they would still have a white card. But anyway, that's the odds coming in. Midnight Warrior 5 to 1, Samba 2 to 1 favourite, Faithful 3 to 1, Mr. Chairman 6 to 1, Charlemagne 7 to 1, Petticoat Pauper with an outside chance at 12 to 1, Leonidas the Fourth at 8 to 1, the Duke's Luck also at 8 to 1, Eat My Shorts comes in at 10 to 1 odds, probably worth a little bet there. Nice Day Out also comes in at 8 to 1, and a No Broken Rain should he land on that square. Number 11, Cottage by the Sea, comes in at a 10 to 1 purely because he was well trained. Number 12, May the Horse Be With You, has been unlucky this time. but has been very generous with a 30 to 1. It's probably worth a bet on there if you're looking for a good return. Number 13, Prince Rupert's Poodle, ends up with a condition of 0. Gets 9 to 1 with the stay up cards. Abbey Road album, of course, is a no-runner. Paddleboat Captain, really greatly trained, 10 to 1. 16, Wish You Were Here at 18 to 1. Spirit of Marengo, 20 to 1. Andy, You're a Star, 20 to 1. Crop Duster Kid, 18 to 1. Prince of Orange, 18 to 1. Greener Than Green, 25 to 1. I think, yeah, if he ends up in the middle, it'll be fine. Good, yeah, good solid bet on that if you want a good return. Border Princess, 33 to 1. Gunboat Diplomacy, 25 to 1. Porous Pint, good trainers, 20 to 1. Gone Fishing, 40 to 1. Madame de Pompadour comes in at 35 to 1. Shoeshine Boy, 40 to 1. Why the Wait, 40 to 1. Strawberry Shortcake, 50 to 1. Early Bird Catches the Worm, 50 to 1. Number 31, Abbygate, well trained, 50 to 1. Knight of the Realm, 100 to 1. Play for Keeps, 65 to 1. Marion Where's My Socks, 80 to 1. Had a very, very, very poor run when we were doing the test run. Number 35, Card Shark, 65 to 1. And the outside runners in the blue, King of Spades, 25 to 1. Jerome of the Fen, 25 to 1. 125 to 1 rather. Who Needs Horsepower, 125 to 1. Number 39, Peking Duck, 125 to 1. And bringing up the rear is Rocket Man with 50 to 1. Now, here comes a bit of fun. Now, we've had a independent pundit come in and they have decided, so we'll put pundit's favourite, Eat My Shorts, which will shorten the length, or lengthen the length rather, to 15 to 1. So if you were already putting your money on Eat My Shorts, the odds have been lengthened by the pundit to a 15 to 1 shot. Good luck everybody. We'll see you on the racecourse. Ciao for now.